Hello, and welcome to episode 58 of Let's Talk Immigration. Uh, First thing I want to talk about, I received an order in a pending lawsuit that we were doing pro bono at Morrison Arena on behalf of 49 asylum seekers and a putative class who were victims of ICE's data breach. Data breach happened in November of last year, over a year ago, and then there was a second data breach in December. So the one in December only affected a small number. Cubans, it was a little different, and none of those affected were my clients. So anyway, the judge has issued an order dismissing that lawsuit. It's kind of a bummer. But let's talk about it a little bit. So first of all, if you want to know more about this lawsuit, you can go to Morrison Arena's website and click on More, and then Asylum Seekers versus Johnson. It's not called that anymore. Now it's Asylum Seekers versus Lecklichner, because that's the new director of ICE. And we've got all the important orders and developments in the lawsuit for you to find right there. Okay. And then also, let's look at the orders themselves. Okay, so this is the memorandum opinion. This is what, I can make that bigger. I don't know if I can or not. I'm going to try something here. No, I don't want that. That's worse. That's fine. So it's a 19-page opinion that Judge Lambert wrote. And one thing I want to point out that he did acknowledge, this is important, the court does not downplay the gravity of ICE's alleged failure to safeguard the data of vulnerable people in its custody. So I appreciate that. That means even though the case did not survive this, the lawsuit did not survive the government's motion to dismiss, the judge doesn't downplay that, you know, what happened here was not good. So don't want to read about this. Basically, that's the procedural background, the legal standards, very common order. So the court concludes that it lacks subject matter jurisdiction to entertain this action. The plaintiffs lack Article 3 standing to seek injunctive or declaratory relief because they have not alleged an ongoing or future violation of their rights by defendants. One of the big problems here is the data breach caused an increased risk of harm, but as of yet, I'm not aware of any of the victims who have actually succumbed to that harm. What I mean by that is, like, nobody's been murdered yet as a result of the data breach, okay? And so it was difficult to have standing in that situation. There was a problem with the Privacy Act that we had hoped that we would get around, but the first problem for plaintiffs is the Privacy Act protects only individuals. And it defines an individual to be a citizen of the United States or an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence. Well, people in ICE custody that were listed in the breach where their personal information was released generally are not, were not lawfully admitted for permanent residence. Now, the Judicial Redress Act expanded it to include people who were citizens of other countries, but only certain other countries, okay? One of those countries was France, and one of our plaintiffs was, well, and still is, a citizen of France, and so we expected those claims to survive, but they did not, because the judge says, well, you haven't shown that she's been harmed yet. They've been harmed yet. Okay. So that's what happened in this lawsuit. I'm glad that we fought it though, because I think it was two things. I think that ICE took the data breach a little bit more serious because of the lawsuit. First of all, they changed their policy after they knew the lawsuit was coming. But then the second thing is, I think the information that we had in the lawsuit was useful to individual immigration attorneys who were representing people in removal proceedings across the country. And I've got some thank yous from individuals that drew on some of the court filings that we had. Also, I want to thank the CARE Coalition in Washington, D.C. area, because they filed an amicus brief that was just extraordinary. It was really good. It was, I wish I had incorporated some of the arguments they made in my complaint originally around the subject of burden shifting. Anyway, I think overall it was good that we filed the lawsuit, but it's been dismissed. So that's what's going on with that. So is there anything else I wanted to talk about? This tip that my paralegals always want me to remind people of, if you have a case pending at NVC, check your SEAC every once in a while for the review notes to make sure that your case is documentarily qualified. And also that your DS-260 is not accidentally unlocked. Because if it's unlocked and it says not submitted, that's not good. You will not be scheduled for interview. Very often people come to me to hire me to file a mandamus lawsuit. And the reason that they have not been scheduled for an interview is because they are not documentarily qualified and they did not realize that. Okay, so do log into your SEAC website and check that out every once in a while. Just don't assume everything's okay. State Department is a mess and they make mistakes all the time. Okay, I got that tip out of the way. I want to mention, if you are an Iranian family who is facing post-interview administrative processing for more than 6 months, and it's a family-based petition, my other law firm, Ready Go Law, is filing a group lawsuit that's very affordable for that situation later this month. The deadline to participate in that, to register, is the 22nd, and we will file the lawsuit on the 29th. So check that out on my other website, on the other law firm's website. Okay, I'm ready to take questions. If you have any questions, you can drop those on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll pop them up here and I'll answer them. How about that? I'll try to answer them. Right now, I've got one. I've got Platinum. It says, hi from Burundi. Hi, Platinum. How are you? I've never been to Burundi. I'd like to go. I think that'd be fun. Wow. Not that many questions today. I'm going to look around and see if there's any more questions. Just floating around Telegram, maybe. I have 23 messages on Telegram. One of those has to be questions. It has to be, yeah. Here's a question on Telegram. Is there any solve for the DV 2020 problem? Okay, so I get this question a lot. I should clarify, I am not class counsel for the Gomez class, the DV 2020 Gomez class. I am counsel for Mohammed Fangjong and Kennedy plaintiffs, 3 group lawsuits that were consolidated with Gomez during 2020. So that's why I pay attention to what's going on to DV 2020. But it's also why a lot of people come to me. I'm not class counsel. Just wanted to clarify that. Second thing, is there any solve for the problem? Yes. we already won summary judgment before Judge Mehta. Judge Mehta already said, you know, those 9,095 visas that he reserved, he told the State Department to issue those by the end of September of 2022. And then the Biden administration decided to defend Trump immigration policies, and they appealed that order. So now we had a hearing way more than a year ago, oral arguments, and it's fully submitted, and it's before a 3-judge panel of the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia. And we are waiting for the outcome of that appeal. Okay. I have to say that maybe 200, 300 times a day, because there's a lot of anxiety, eagerness, anxiousness amongst the plaintiffs. And good luck plaintiffs in DB 2021 and the Gomez class members and our clients in DB 2020. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. See if I can find another question here. Now my Telegram's not coming up. I'm looking for questions there and I'm not seeing any. Here's a question. Okay. Which dates are holiday for appeal court, and how can be any orders while holidays? Recently, we saw there were 2 orders that was part of them about Trump in appeal court. Okay. I don't keep track of the holiday schedule for the appeals court. It is what it is, but it's not like they take weeks off. This isn't Europe. When there's a holiday in the US, it's 1 day off from work. Okay. So December, we don't even do Boxing Day in the United States. This isn't London. We only do Christmas, Hanukkah, Christmas Eve. I mean, there's not more than a couple holidays here. New Year's Eve. So don't think that December everything's closed. That's just not true. I like to compare December to February. You know, February only has 28 days. December has 31, but there's a couple holidays. Okay. So Omar mentions that he saw 2 orders that were part about them in Trump appeal court. And I also saw somebody on Facebook talk about this. I haven't seen those orders. I'm not sure what they're talking about, but they, the person on Facebook was implying that since orders came after, for cases that came after our case before the appeals court, that means that they forgot about our case. And that's not true. Appeals are never decided in order. There's no queue or line. That's not how they do it. Okay. The judges have their reasons for the orders that they choose to issue opinions. We are not part of that conversation, but we defer to their wisdom about that, because they're in the best position to handle the priorities of their docket, not us. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. Patrick says, did the court release any info about Islamabad backlog numbers? I saw some data about the backlog, and it was from Iqbal lawsuit. Missed the first 10 minutes. Maybe you cover it. Patrick, I did not cover that. I should cover that. I'm trying to think of the best way to cover that. The court in Iqbal, there's been lots of things that have come out in that case, actually. I have to be careful when I'm sharing my screen because I don't want to share any private information. But I have not been able to share all the information that's came out of Iqbal yet. I only shared a little bit yesterday, and I'm going to look and see if I can find what I shared yesterday on Telegram. Basically, I shared that things are getting a little bit better at Islamabad, which is a good thing, right? And I also shared, Pam Bentley. Pam Bentley is the consular section chief at U.S. Embassy Islamabad. I have a declaration from her that we can talk about. So if you're from Islamabad, listen up, because we're going to start talking here about things that you care about. So, declaration of Pamela Bentley, okay? And this was in the Iqbal lawsuit. Pamela Bentley took this position on July 3rd, 2023. That's when she became the consular section chief at Islamabad. And that's when she became a defendant in our lawsuits. Well, actually, not that day, but since then. She's a defendant in a lawsuit we filed since then, too. So it talks about her experience. That's great. And then it talks generally about how the system works. And then it talks about the effect of COVID. And let me see here. The effect of COVID and the evacuation of Afghanistan. Which is funny. They're still blaming COVID and Afghanistan on consular processing in almost the year 2024. I would not have expected that. So they tell the history of what happened in 2020 and 2021. They do this as if we don't know it. I mean, we were there. The people that were waiting for interviews were still waiting back then, you know. Islamabad played a major role in assisting evacuees out of Afghanistan. Yes, we know. Let's skip all this past stuff and go to the current consular resources at Post. Okay, so the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad has a total of 14 consular officer positions allocated on the department's global staffing pattern. Since her arrival, 6 to 8 of those positions have been unfilled. Not good. It is my understanding that from the onset of COVID-19 pandemic through 2023, this was the pattern. No, it wasn't the pattern. It was the priority. If they wanted to, it's the United States government. We put people on the moon. If they wanted to put consular officers in Islamabad, they would have done it. Make it called a pattern. Okay. As of January 2024, 11 of the positions will be filled. That's what they say. But still, it's 11, not 14. And also, what about the fact that an entire embassy is closed next door, Kabul in Afghanistan? So wouldn't the Islamabad's capacity, shouldn't it be more than 14 consular officers now? I welcome you, Pamela, to join me as a guest, Ms. Bentley, to join me as a guest to discuss these issues on Let's Talk Immigration. Okay. Many adjudicator positions require learning Urdu or Dari languages. I understand that. I recommend that they draw from the pool of applicants who already speak those languages, maybe save them some time. Okay. The vacancies can also be partially explained by the fact that the pandemic resulted in a drastic drop of fee revenue to the department, and visa services are primarily fee funded. That is a lie. Okay? There are 450,000 documentarily qualified visa applicants, immigrant visa applicants, awaiting interviews. That did not happen before the pandemic. These are people that have already paid their visa application fees. Where is that money? If anything, the pandemic has flushed the State Department with cash, and they're not explaining where it is. Instead, they're pretending like it does not exist. I get a little angry about this stuff. As the fiscal situation continues to improve, the department has been working to make up the staffing shortfall, but that process is ongoing. When anybody tells you something's ongoing, it means that it's not happening. The Islamabad IV unit is currently comprised of 4 direct hire employees, 3 additional positions are vacant, 20 local staff, and 2 temporary interpreters. And I'm grateful to all consulate staff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking bad about consular staff here. I'm grateful to anybody that does this work. I'm just very frustrated with the people that think that the a minimum number of people should be here doing this work when they could give the right number of people here to do this work, right? Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Like other embassies, the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad reviews the complexity of its caseloads and has a projected number of immigrant visa interviews that it expects each officer to adjudicate per day. For immigrant visas, the embassy projects that an officer will be able to adjudicate 30 immigrant visas, applications of immediate relatives or family preference IV categories, or 40 immigrant Afghan SIV applications, or 50 V2, V93 applications per day, inclusive of principal and derivative applicants. On average, Afghan and V92 cases have more family members, which allow officers to interview multiple applicants together, speeding up the number of applications adjudicated per day. So that's interesting. That sentence suggests that I don't know. It almost sounds like that they choose to interview Afghans so they can meet that quota. I hope that's not the case. I mean, there's reasons to prioritize Afghans SIV applicants for sure. I hope it's just not to meet the quota. And of course, declaration is signed. This was from December 8th, Pamela Bentley. Okay, that was fun. So let me see if I can find some more information about Islamabad. That's fun. Oh, Rebecca Austin. Yes, I have a declaration from Rebecca Austin. I hope somebody that's watching cares about Islamabad. If not, go share this with people from Islamabad and say, hey, Curtis was talking about Islamabad today on Let's Talk Immigration. Okay, Rebecca Austin is the Assistant Director of the National Visa Center. She gives the update on the backlog, okay? And so what she's saying here is that on October 20th, 2023, there were 12,123 applicants in the immediate relative backlog, and now it's down to 12,097. For family preference categories, this 24,883 number is actually wrong. That's a typo, and the government attorney, when I pointed out to him, told me that he would be filing something with the court to fix that typo. The 1597 number, I think, is also a typo, but I can't remember for sure. So as of December 7th, there are a backlog of 6,743 Afghan applicants seeking an immigrant visa pursuant to the Afghan Allies Protection Act of 2009 who are documentarily complete awaiting appointments. Just not a priority for Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, because if it was, these numbers would not exist. There would not be backlogs. Most U.S. embassies no longer have immigrant visa backlogs. This is a problem that is specific to Islamabad, Nairobi, Montreal, Ankara, Yerevan, and Abu Dhabi. Probably not as bad at Yerevan as the others. Okay. I think that's enough Islamabad talk for a little bit. Let me see if there's another declaration that's interesting. That one's about a specific plaintiff, so we can't use that. Islamabad. Man, talking about Islamabad puts me in a bad mood. Let's see if we have some questions from our lovely audience. But thank you for reminding me, Patrick, that I had that to share. Okay. Abdel Samad. Samad. Is there any update about Good Luck versus Blinken? No. Is it Good Luck versus Blinken? I think it's Good Luck versus Biden. We're still awaiting the outcome of the appeal. Juan says, Buenas tardes, cuando los del DV 2020 podemos tener nuestra gran espera. Noches, gracias. Noches, gracias. Lo siento, mi español es muy triste. Oh, look. Good afternoon, when those of us DV 20. No sé. I don't know. I don't know. I hope that it is soon, but I don't know. Okay. Alex says, save DV 2020. Yes, save DV 2020. That means being patient and waiting for the outcome of the appeal. Okay, Makunda says, sir, good morning. Any update regarding DV 2021 lawsuit? You don't mention which DV 2021 lawsuit, do you? But we are waiting for the outcome of the appeal. If you're talking about good luck, go, Ray. Okay. AV Gaming. Hello, sir. My priority date is 2018, October. DQ is July 28. When I will expect interview in Islamabad. My case is F2A. July 28th of what year? If it's July 28th of 2023, you should not be expecting an interview from Islamabad in the foreseeable year. And my recommendation would be to relocate the beneficiary outside of Pakistan to a country with a U.S. embassy that's functioning properly, that's staffed. That would be any embassy in Europe. That would be India. That would be Malaysia. That would be Mexico. Basically, take a globe. I have a globe up here. Spin it. Put your finger on a map. If it's not Pakistan, it's a better place to be. Because otherwise, you've got a long way to head. Probably giving yourself an advantage would be to naturalize as a U.S. citizen, if the petitioner would naturalize. However, that could cause problems if there are derivatives on the case, like derivative children, because then they would fall off the case. Because R1s cannot have derivatives and F2As can. Okay, he's saying July 2020. So priority date was October 2018. Then DQ date was July 28th of 2020. Man, that's a long time. You should sue. Get with me. Let's do a mandamus lawsuit over that. It would have been nice if you had participated in the group lawsuit I just filed, but that ship's already gone. We've already filed that lawsuit, but I can always do an individual lawsuit. First thing I need to know is where the petitioner lives in the U.S. so we know what our options are on where to file that lawsuit. Because that's an unreasonable wait. Juan said, gracias, gracias. Hato says, hello, what about DV 2021? Well, the DV journeys for the majority of DV 2021 selectees ended on October 1st, 2021. The journeys that did not end are the good luck plaintiffs who are all like, understand that they don't just ask about DV 2021. They ask about good luck because it's a different subcategory. And the journeys also continue for the Go plaintiffs and the DV 2021 selectees who were protected by certain, their interview locations being at certain embassies, including the Schengen area in Europe. So what about DV 2021? Depends upon more about an individual situation. Because if they were not a good luck plaintiff and they were not eligible for one of the Ray visas and they were not a Go plaintiff, then their journey was over October 1st of 2021. Okay. I almost said no more questions, and then I got one more, but what about good luck? I've already talked about good luck. We don't know anything. We're still waiting on the outcome of the appeal. It's been brought to my attention that I have not explained that in a video to our foreign language audiences, especially Arabic. And so that's something I plan to do in January. Basically, if we still don't have an outcome on the Gomez Good Luck lawsuits, I hope to do some videos in some foreign languages, just letting everybody know we haven't forgot about you. The court hasn't forgot about you, but appeals take time and we don't have an outcome yet. Okay. AV Gaming says, as a new post in groups Islamabad U.S. Embassy cover F1, F4 cases DQ June 24th, 2020. I don't understand the question. You can always message me on WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever, and I'll see if I can figure it out and give you the answer if I can. Okay. So everybody have a good week. I'm going to see you next Wednesday for episode 59 of Let's Talk Immigration. Be good out there. Bye.